Throughout the course, we examined a variety of issues related to food, food production systems, and the three pillars of sustainability. Just as food systems are complex, the issues around sustainability are also complex and multifaceted. As you watch this section, consider the myriad of social, economic, and environmental variables as we navigate our path towards solutions to complex challenges in the food system. So are we really talking about problems that can't be solved?
I say no.
Okay.
I say there are solutions to these.
Okay.
I think that it is based on having the right people with the right knowledge in the right place with the right decision-making power. Now, that is not not always in place, right? So in many cases, the people with the knowledge are not in the right place or not focused on it, or it isn't a priority to them. Or the resources that go into implementing solutions are not in place, or the people that have the resources are not the people that have the solutions. And so many times we don't see the convergence of having all the pieces of the recipe in the place to solve the problem.
The easy problems, they're already been solved. The next generation will have a very difficult problems. And also we'll have problems that we have to have sit a lot of people around the table, right? Because there are very different opinions about this, right? There are people that are very, very concerned about the environment, but we need to educate them about production systems, right? And we have people still that feels that we're fine with respect to the environment. And that has to be educated to the fact that we have issues with respect to environmental health.
Particularly in the Midwest, we see a lot of monocropping systems. Do you see resistance to diversification among the producer groups that you and your people work with, or are they moving more toward diversification? Where are we in that moment?
I see hesitance primarily for economic reasons. And so when I talked about de-risking the future, part of what I mean is that within crop sciences, we need to try things out, even something that might seem like a wacky idea, try it out and find out how to create kind of doable steps, safer steps to adopting that. In terms of growing more diverse cropping systems, there's a few things that have to happen. One, we need cultivars of some of these other crops that are suitable for growing in Illinois. That's why I hired not one, but 2 small grains breeders to begin creating suitable cultivars. But we also need diversification of value chains. So we need to be able to provide a price signal to growers and say, hey, if you grow this, you're going to be able to sell this at a reasonable price. We also need processing facilities. So if you're going to be growing small grains, or if you're going to be integrating livestock production into your farm, where are you going to process those products? We have a severe shortage of animal processing facilities in Illinois right now. People have harvest dates, processing dates a year and a half out now.
And I was just talking to a student who is doing research on this topic. It's the would I, could I? Like, would I do these things is a question that we've asked a lot. Would I introduce cover crops? Would I change my application practices? Maybe. Like, that is in my repertoire. I could do it. It is in what it's well within what I view being a farmer in Illinois. But could I? Can I do it? Right? Are there
in terms of profitability?
In terms of profitability, in terms of the opportunities versus constraints. Are there enough opportunities to make it worthwhile for someone to say, I'm going to take on that risk because I'm going to get a big payoff in whatever terms that is, right? Could be monetary or something else. But we have a ton of constraints, and I don't think we understand the constraints well enough to, right? And we keep focusing on this, would I? It's like, well, maybe, but there's also this could I aspect to it.
Students, the most recent generation, issues of sustainability and issues of systems thinking are not relatively recent to them. Whereas different, many of us in society maybe were educated at a certain time where these things were not day-to-day lingo. Maybe they were in an academic setting, but it didn't maybe make it to equal labels on food products. And so that gives me hope that it took a long time, but now it's something that I see students talking about. Maybe they don't recognize the trade-offs and how hard it is to get there, but students come to the class and they already know about sustainability and they know about something about systems thinking. Maybe they don't call it like that. So that gives me hope that maybe in the past we were focused on silos, both in government and in science, whereas now both in government and in science we're trying to break these silos. And so that's something that is hopeful. What keeps me up at night is that it's not happening at a pace that is fast enough to slow down the trends that are happening, whether we're talking about climate change or we're talking about collapse of ecological systems, whether we're talking about food sovereignty and food justice and environmental justice issues. I think the rate at which we are learning is much lower than the rate at which bad things are happening. But as a race, we are creative, we are inventive, so there's always hope that through our creativity, through our civic engagement, which also gives me hope, I do see that younger generations are more civically engaged. And so through increased civic engagement, through research and development that has been becoming more decentralized. So there's a lot of new ideas now that are coming in a bottom-up fashion as opposed to having been monopolized by big companies. I think that gives me hope.
The issues are complex, yes, and there are no simple solutions. Acknowledging the complexities, bringing to light the concerns, and striving to bring everyone together to examine the issues are efforts we can contribute to move towards solutions.